Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we are dedicating to the present day modern home buyer, and specifically how to get your house ready to sell in 2021. Modern day home buyer is incredibly particular in what they want, so it's crucial that you consider these 10 things before you list your home for sale. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jordan Pyle. I am a real estate agent and I run a real estate team downtown here in the city of Chicago, helping buyers, sellers, and investors accomplish your real estate goals. If you have any questions about that, or if you're moving to Chicago, feel free to reach out down below and schedule a real estate strategy call. We would love to connect with you and learn more about your real estate goals and how we can help. This channel is about all things real estate, as well as all things living in Chicago. So today we're gonna talk about selling your home. So if you currently own a home and you're thinking about putting it on the market, whether it be in the next 1 or 2 months, 6 months, 12 months down the line, these are the 10 things that you want to make sure you consider before you go to market to interview and hire an agent to sell your property. So let's go ahead and dive on into the video talking about how to get your house ready to sell in 2021 and specifically in the Chicago real estate market. Before you go, if this is valuable to you and you've gotten some good information here today, do us a favor and leave us a like, put a comment down below about any other questions you have as it pertains to selling your home, and definitely smash that subscribe button before you go so that you can tune in to all future videos. So let's dive on in. All right, first up on the list is you want to make sure you take care of any deferred maintenance. When we talk about deferred maintenance, we're referring to all the little things, the little projects, the weekend projects that might be adding up on your to-do list that you maybe haven't had the chance to knock off yet. So this might be, painting the cabinet, resecuring the hinges on 1 or 2 different doors. Maybe this is finishing out the back deck that you started. There's a variety of different things this could be. However, when we talk about deferred maintenance, we want to do those things up front if they are minor in cost. Now, I'm not telling you to go and renovate a kitchen or completely gut rehab anything to bring it to market. There's a time and a place for that. But for the average home seller, that's not going to be what is required. But what is required, and the reasoning for that is the fact that if you neglect the little paint here, or making sure that the cabinet is screwed on tight, what's going to happen is when buyers come through your home, they often play up a scenario in their head where all of these little things cost in their head a lot more than what their actual cost to fix them is. So I would rather, and I always encourage my home sellers to take the time and do the work up front before we ever even list it on the market, so that you don't have these buyers trying to backdoor and basically get some large credits after the deal has been negotiated and they do their inspection. So if we can knock out those things up front, it's going to save you a big headache moving forward, because now there's no excuse for them to basically come back and ask you for little nitpicky items where some people might consider it nickeling and diming. The second up on the list is, in my opinion, probably one of, if not the most important part, which is decluttering your home. I cannot tell you how important this is. From the moment somebody steps foot in your property, immediately their eyes are going to go to all of the clutter, right? So we don't want it to be bare bones. We encourage it to be as minimal as possible, but still having enough furniture to fill the space. So part of this process, and really it isn't a ton, really what I recommend to people is, rent a storage unit, or maybe go get 2 or 3 bigger boxes, and then everything that you can see where somebody's eyes, a potential buyer's eyes might go, just make sure that that area is decluttered. So a lot of times you're going to have this on different countertops or bookshelves, or maybe even having too much furniture in one room and making sure that you're just condensing some of that furniture down a little bit. You just really want to declutter, making sure that if you have loose papers or little knickknacks here and there, that you're just finding a place for those. Basically just hide them so that people's sight doesn't go directly to them. I also talk about decluttering in the way of, if you have a lot of baby toys, a lot of times when we're selling homes for people that need to sell and then they need to buy, it's hard for them to move out all of their belongings, right? Especially when you have a couple kids and you have toys and you have clothes and you have stuff everywhere. It's one thing to actually get it out, and it's another thing to keep it like that as you're selling your property. So that's where then I would recommend some type of storage unit. Take all that clutter, put it in there temporarily. When you move to your next home, you can move it back in, or you can decide, hey, let's maybe have a garage sale. Let's get rid of some of the stuff, and then maybe we go out and get some new stuff. But I find that this is a very important thing that you need to do to make sure that the property is shown in the best light possible. And speaking of light, let's go on to number 3, which is that you want to brighten up your house as much as possible. So there's a couple things that I recommend with this. Some of this is just as simple as a fresh coat of paint. Maybe you have a darker paint color that is really, retracting from the amount of actual light that's coming into the property. So maybe just recommending, a light gray or white or some off shade of white for you to paint the walls to just kind of freshen it up and bring more natural light into the property. Sometimes before we get photography and before we go to market, I actually recommend, it's kind of a pain, but all of your little can lights or all of your lights throughout your home, basically changing them from like the soft white or like the yellow lights to like a brighter LED light. And some people don't like the look of this. They feel that it's too bright, but it really makes a property stand out, both in photos and in person when buyers stepping through into that home. I don't know about you, but I feel about 8 or 9, if not 10 out of 10 buyers have natural light as one of the checklist items on their must-haves when they're looking for a property. All right, fourth, so this is curb appeal. In Chicago, this is slightly different. If you're in a detached single-family home, you want to make sure your landscaping's in order, your grass is mowed, whatever it might be, your walkway up to your front door, making sure the newspapers are picked up, leaves are swept. In Chicago, this might be just as simple. Your curb appeal, what I like to refer to is basically your professional photography. So we're going to talk about that in another number. And maybe your curb appeal in Chicago, sometimes you're in a high rise, right? So you don't actually have a physical structure that you need to have a nice curb appeal for. So your curb appeal might actually be your professional photography. So it's just a different way to think about curb appeal. And we're going to talk about getting really good professional photography later on in this video, but that is another way to do so. So whether you're detached or an attached single family home, there's ways to enhance your curb appeal by doing some very minimal things. All right, number 5, we're talking about depersonalizing. This is often one where people have a hard time, family photos, engagement photos, kids photos, whatever the case might be. All of these different memories are contained within these homes, and I understand that people want to show those off and they want to have those there when they return home from work to kind of feel the love of that family and the love of those memories and those moments together. But when you're selling your property, you temporarily have to make the sacrifice to remove those types of pictures and decorations, essentially. And the reason being is you really want to give the buyer the ability to imagine their self in that home, and not their self in your home. You want them to imagine their self in that home. And so I know it's emotional, but you have to detach emotions from business and emotions from getting the property sold. So that would be the next one, which is basically depersonalizing your home. All right, number 6, staging if needed. If it's your furniture that's still in the home and you're still living there, I still consider this something that you want to visit and you want to consider. So maybe it's just light staging here or there. Maybe you're going to get a nice throw, or even getting some type of flower or some type of plants to place within the home to kind of brighten it up, or maybe just add a little bit of feel and a little bit of love to it. You might even be doing a full stage. So typically I recommend, if something is completely vacant, that you do take the time. It's going to be about $22,000 to $2,500 to stage a normal 2-bedroom, let's just call it 1,200 to 1,500 square foot home. It's going to cost you around $2,000 to do that. And I always, 10 times out of 10, recommend that those people take that approach, or those sellers to take that approach, because it is a known fact that staged properties not only look incredibly well in photography compared to vacant properties, but when you're actually in the home and stepping foot, having a staged property actually makes the property feel bigger, where a lot of people think that it makes it feel smaller. But studies show having staging leads to a faster sale at a higher amount. Number 7, we're working our way through, and this is to deep clean the home. Be sure to stay till the end, because we're going to be talking about the number 1 question in the 10th step before you sell your home. You want to ask any agent that you're interviewing for the job to sell your home. So tune in at the very end to make sure that you catch this important piece of information. Back to number 7, which is deep clean. So once you have it staged, once you have it depersonalized, decluttered, once you brighten up the home, enhance the curb appeal, you're gonna wanna make sure that you're getting it deep cleaned. It's really the last thing I do before professional photography. It might cost you $150 to $250. Basically just having someone come in, deep clean it, make it smell as good as possible. This is gonna go a long way to making sure you get the best photography and the best impression possible. All right, number 8, so now we're talking about professional photography. I cannot stress how important this one is. Nowadays, 99.9999% of buyers are starting their home search online. So it's no longer the days of stepping into 20 properties and figuring out which one they like the most. They're doing their filtering online. They're basically taking 20 or 30 potential properties that they want to see. And the first thing that they're doing to filter out the properties is they're going through really quickly and they're clicking through the photos just very quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just going through each one. So I always say, you get 2 clicks of a mouse, maybe 3 clicks of a mouse for a buyer to be attracted and to be basically stopped in their tracks when they see those photos of your home, for them to consider going and actually setting up a showing to actually tour that home in person. So if you mess up your first 2 to 3 photos, then basically that buyer is moving on to the next one, and you're never even gonna come back into their search because now you are filtered out of it. So it's super, super important that you have an agent that hires a professional photographer that they've worked with in the past, that they know shoots good shots, has good lighting, and that really makes the space the most that the space can be. So I can't stress how important that is. I think I made my point very, very clear with that, is professional photography can make or break the sale of your home. Number 9, so once you have the photography, once you have deep cleaned it and basically done everything you need to do to get it ready to go, it might be easy now to let it sink back to the condition it was before as you're getting ready to have showings and as you're getting it onto the market. So I know this is hard when you're living in the property, but as soon as it's ready to go to market, you need to make sure that you have it in that condition, call it photo ready condition, all the way through that first 2 weeks of that property being on the market in order to make sure that the property shows in the best light that it possibly can. All right, we made it to number 10. Finally we're here. And this is talking about interviewing agents for the job to sell your home. Do not sell your home for sale by owner. There are stats to it that you can get more money and you can get it sold in a faster period of time by leveraging the resources of a professional real estate agent. That doesn't mean that every real estate agent is great, but make sure you do your diligence and hire a great agent. And for the final bonus tip here, the number one question you want to ask all these potential agents is, what are you going to do to market my home online? Gone are the days where it's about postcards or direct mail or whatever the case may be, putting print ads in magazines or newspapers. Now it's about, what are you going to do to sell my home by marketing it and getting exposure for it online? So that includes social media. Are you doing video? How are you leveraging the different Facebook groups or the Instagram groups and kind of your audience of people to drive as many people to that property as possible? Are you doing an Instagram reel? What are you doing to market my home online? Because now we know, going back to the photography, that pretty much 100% of people are starting their search online. So if you don't have a presence there and your agent doesn't have a presence there, then you getting your home sold is going to be much more difficult. So those are the 10 things that you need to consider before you're getting your home ready to sell. If this has been helpful, do us a favor and leave a like on this video, put a comment down below, and be sure to hit the subscribe button before you go so that you can tune into all our future videos. If you want to sell your home and you have questions, you want to put together a strategy, feel free to reach out to our team and schedule a real estate strategy call down below in the description. We'd love to connect with you and talk more about how we can get your property sold today. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.